the ASL limit, Senator.
Okay. And what about jobs outsourced to labour hire or contractors? Is that something that's growing within the organisation?
The overall size of the organisation, we have lots of mechanisms of employment in CSIRO, Senator. The overall size of the organisation has grown a little bit over the 5 years of the strategy. So it's probably a little bit bigger than it was at the beginning of the strategy. But the way we employ people, so full-time, part-time, affiliates, there's different. We have students, number of university professors work on our different sites and us on theirs. So there's a number of different mechanisms. If you add them all up, we're probably a little bit bigger than we were in 2015 when I started.
In terms of direct employees, or?
Well, the direct employee number does vary, and again, there's full-time, part-time. But if I count the total workforce, which is all forms of engagement, we're probably a little bit bigger than we were at the beginning.
Okay.
And that's because our budget's bigger than it was at the beginning, and our external revenue is significantly bigger than it was at the beginning.
Your organisation advised that the proportion of contractors as a share of staff has increased from 2.5% of staff to almost 7%. As at 29 February 2020, CSIRO had 409 contractors, 263 are engaged via labour hire agencies, which is 64% of overall contractors. Individuals engaged by labour hire agencies represent 4.8% of employees. Does the CSIRO have a strategy for reducing the number of contractors?
So, Senator, it's Judy Zelke. I'm Chief Operating Officer at CSIRO. We took similar questions at the previous estimates as well, Senator. No, our recruitment strategies haven't changed over the last 2-year period or so. We are moving to ensure that we have people in the right jobs and the right roles. So when we recruit, we consider whether they should be a permanent staff, a non-ongoing staff, should they be labour hire, etc. Noting that we have 56 sites around the country. A number of those are regional. We have things like the square kilometre array in the middle of WA. So our capabilities and skill sets that we're looking for are changing regularly. So we will actually stop and think before we, go to advertise to recruit a position, what is our need in that regard? Should it be for a limited period of time, or should it be for longer? Or are we just looking to backfill or fill a temporary arrangement? So we use all of those strategies in relation to all of our people.
Okay. Yeah. Senator Chisholm, how much longer do you think you've got? Or if you've got a lot to go, I'll share the call.
I think only 5 minutes, I think.
Okay,
yeah.
Let's try.
How many scientists engaged via labour hire agencies are under the age of 35?
Senator, we have very few scientists engaged through labour hire. The majority of our people who are engaged through labour hire are in more administrative roles or in logistics or those types of activities. I am happy to take that on notice for you, but it may very well be zero.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Maybe if you could provide a bit of detail about who is on labour hire contracts, that'd be good.
If, for example, if we have somebody coming in as a postdoc scientist, we may have them on a 2 or a 3 year placement because that's the length of their position. So they won't be labour hire, they'll be a non-ongoing staff member in that regard, as opposed to, say, a senior scientist who is a permanent officer in CSIRO. And as Dr Marshall said, a lot of our people move back and forth between universities or other research agencies as well.
Thanks. The average staffing level of the CSIRO is still around 200 lower than when Labor was in government, despite the staffing cut being lifted in the budget. Has the government provided the CSIRO with an assurance that it will increase staffing levels beyond current levels? And if so, is it expected to increase?
So the flexibility... Sorry.
I was just going to say, Senator, we've done a lot of digital transformation in CSIRO over the last 5 years. We've automated a lot of processes that we used to do manually, particularly in how we gather data. And we've shifted our scientists from doing that to actually analysing the data and getting the insights, which is kind of the real value. The data is a bit of a commodity, but it's the insights that tell us what to do, help us understand how to better navigate the future. So that's the reason the organisation, that the total number of people that work for CSIRO has increased slightly, but our output has increased very significantly over that time, but we're more efficient now than we were because of the use of technology. So we wouldn't have to necessarily grow our headcount in order to continue significantly growing our impact.